So I just took the cylinder heads from the 302 from the machine shop. We had intake manifold bolts break off in the heads, and I tried to get them out, but I couldn't. So I took that as a sign. I was like, well, I'll take the heads off the engine. We can look at the condition of the cylinders, and the crosshatch and everything looks good, and the engine supposedly ran good. But I took the heads to the machine shop, told them I just wanted them freshened up, and they're gonna vacuum check each combustion chamber or whatever for the valves, seeing if they leak and whatnot. So if they leak, they'll do a valve job and everything, but if not, we'll call it good. So better safe than sorry. Then we got this box from CJ Pony Parts, ordered taillights and headlights, all this kinds of stuff, little stuff that we don't have. Like, we have some taillights, but everything's bad. I mean, these cars have been sitting outside probably twice as long as I've been on Earth. So they were all cracked and faded, and the surrounds were all bad. So I ordered door handles too, because the bolts in the old doors broke. Here we got, so here's a great example. So here's our turn signals with the housing and everything, and here's the old ones. So you can just see, like, these could clean up, but it's just easier. The wiring, like right now on my Fairlane, this here is messed up, and I think that uses it as a ground because all my turn signals are not working. And then when I move this, it like makes contact better, then they work. So right now it's just annoying. So new ones for this car, except I actually think I need this piece too, which just didn't come with. So might be able to fix this one. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. So more parts. What is this? Replacement parts, taillight bezel. Sweet. So here I can show you the old ones that I tried to get to work. Actually rust, like it's aluminum, I believe, but like it just corroded and fell apart. Here's the new one. Let's see, where's the old one? Here's the originals. I'll probably keep these or just sell them or something. So this is the best one, and it's not bad, but it's got paint and stuff which you could get off, but the lenses are all cracked up and scraped. So I mean, you could reuse this, yes, but I just replaced like 90% of the car and it's got fresh paint. So a fresh paint car, and then put this on it, and you could polish it if you wanted, but now we have this compared to that. So this looks nice. Okay, and then here's our shifter. So two of the cars were manuals. This car had a 351 Windsor and a 4-speed in it that I found out, or yeah, I believe it was a 4-speed. The trans was gone, but it was from like a Cougar or something, and it had a Ford 9-inch that's slightly too wide, and I found out that it was parts from an old Cougar, and it had black leather interior, which was not Mustang seats. I thought for a second, I was like, could these be Mach 1 seats? But then they didn't look like Mach 1 seats. So I think it was all from a older Cougar. But here's a new shifter where I put it to a C4. This car was originally a 289 with an automatic trans. I think it was an original C4. So that's what we got in it now. Yeah, and all the gaskets for the taillights and the what is the name of it? Like a quarter panel end cap. I don't know what it is. Those caps that bolt on the end. There's gaskets for those as well. Here's our other taillight. I don't know what this is. Taillight housing to body seal. All kinds of stuff. Here's our shift linkage for the shifter, so that will actually work. More weather stripping seals. I mean, we got a lot of stuff in this box. Another headlight. We just went with stock. I could have done some cool headlights like I did with the F100, but figured we'll just go complete. Oh, and I actually think it's a halogen though. I did order the halogen, so it'll be bright, but it looks totally stock. Boom. Yeah, it's a halogen. Most of this stuff I got from CJ Pony Parts, just because they have a large selection of stuff. Sometimes though, their shipping takes forever. There's still stuff that I ordered a year ago that I have not gotten. So just shop around, but my wife likes to order from CJ Pony Parts, so that's where I order from. All right. Nice, here's the glove box. I don't know how it's supposed to look. I think so. So this is what I was talking about, like this glove box is the actual glove box itself. It's just cardboard and just stapled together. But I don't think a single one of the cars have one. I think mice ate them all, or just deteriorated. Most of the stuff when I was taking out, like none of the cars have heater boxes, the box with the fan and everything, because when I was removing them, they just crumbled. They're like a fiberglass or a plastic or some type of material. It's not metal though, but over time they just don't hold up, especially if they've been parked outside where mice or bugs can get onto them. These cars had bugs in them, mice in them, so anything that wasn't metal pretty much just deteriorated, and then what was metal rusted away. So we had a roof, basically. The other car doesn't have a roof. The Sausage Pony, the 66, the roof, the reason why we chose this car to restore, so we bought 3 of these. There was 2 65s and 1 66. The 66 needs a complete roof and quarter panels, but the structure, it had the best structure, the frame, out of none of these are all unibody cars, but the rocker panels and everything is like the frame for the cars. So it had the best structure condition out of all the cars. So I was like, all right, and it's a 66. I was like, so we could do this one, but it needed a roof. And I've never replaced a roof before, and this was a huge timeline. We were on such a tight, our original thing was like, I think we wanted to get this car torn down, fixed, restored, and everything in like a month, 1 to 3 months, which you could do if you had a rust-free car that was rust-free, dent-free, and really nice. You could strip it down, gut it, all new paint and everything, and then reinstall. If a lot of your parts were good, just put your parts back on. You could have a restored car in a short period of time if you had time. But this one had a good roof and a couple other pieces. We thought the fenders were good, which they weren't. They were just trashed. So we did this car and put all the stuff in. And then the third car, the other 65, it was actually a really high option car. It had all this stuff. It had a center console, V8, factory air conditioning. It was totally loaded. But when I got it on my trailer, the car broke in half and the front of the car just separated from the rest of the car. It just was broken and it was way beyond, I mean, someone out there could have fixed it. I fixed this car and I'm saying that it was beyond repair. So I have the door and the VIN and a couple other parts, but the majority of the car was trashed. So the only hope for that car to get back on the road, I think, would be one of those Dynacorn bodies, but they're like 20 grand. So later in life, when I make it big, you'll see it revived. All right, let's go do this. I get to talking and I distract myself. All right, let's install these taillights, get to actual work. I was gonna take all this off to put all the new stuff on, and when I flipped it over, like I said, these were the best ones out of all the cars. Pulled this up and it's all rotted out, so I can't even use this. And I don't have this plug for the bulb anyway that plugs in the back to wire, because the harness I bought, oh geez. So let's see. So this is the new wiring harness, but all the ends are just cuts like that. So I'd have to get the harness to then put in here. Oh, plug in, beep. So we're gonna have to order those now. No taillights. Pop. Alright, so the taillight bezels, the main, or not bezel, like the taillight housing, the main part that you, that the light bulb is into and everything like that, they were totally rusted out. They were covered by foam, so I didn't notice it at first. And I went to just take it apart and pulled the foam back and it's rusted out. So I have to order that, and so the taillights are delayed. So now I'm moving on to these parking lights. And I already showed you the old ones were rough. Well, there is specific left and right. So when you get the box, it'll be, if you order the exact ones I ever do, PL23L and PL23R. And then these gaskets are very specific to each side, and they only go on one way. There's a detent notched. I don't know if I'm using the right words for stuff. My knowledge, brain power is low. So, okay. So there's a notch there in the bottom of it, and then it's the only one on the gasket. And so just left with left and right with right. And if you get that on there like that, it's perfect. Only one way. And then the back piece that slides over this, they were reusable, so they had slight rust. One of them was a bit rough, like one of the eyelets here, the hole was rusted out, so now it's not just a hole, it's like an opening. But I'll just put a washer on it and we're good, so it'll work. So then we'll put these in. These ones actually have the wiring to go to your factory harness. Oh, bug on my face. But that, like I just showed earlier, the, man, fly. But I don't have any of the other ends unless I can find, if I kept the original harness, I could find it, cut the ends off and solder them on. So maybe I'll just look around. But when those are done drying, we're gonna install these front parking lights. And then probably move on to the headlights. Now that we have headlights, we'll install those and then finish the front end of the car. And normally I would not put any of that stuff on the car, the entire front end, to put the engine trans in. But since we have the crane, we'll just take the hood off and I'll just be able to drop it straight down instead of the cherry picker going and then hitting your bumper, your fresh paint, getting in the way of stuff. We will just drop that straight in And we do have a brand new transmission rebuilt by my friend. So that's great, but all right. Next time you see me, we'll be installing these. We ordered new door handles. The old ones pretty much all had the bolts broken off. I think this was the only, screw. This was the only screw that came out. So, and they're dirty, so figured since I keep doing the same thing where I'm like, well, since the whole car was pretty much restored, why put scratched up old door handles on it? Because it's going to be the first thing anyone sees when they walk up to the car is the exterior, but then they're going to grab this and be like, wow, it's got a really bad door handle. Plus the screws are broke off. I don't want to mess with it. But anyway, so it's pretty cool how it works. It's got a plunger in here, and this bracket bolts on it, and it flips down, and your linkage hooks here. So when you press it, it pulls it up to open your door. So we're gonna open this package and put the driver's door handle in. The car is pushed to the side, so I can't access almost anything on the passenger side. So we're doing one side at a time, drivers, then passenger, whatnot. So this is the passenger side. So I already opened it up. I got all new door locks and ignition lock, but the trunk key is different. It didn't come in a pack, so I gotta order the trunk key, and there's a bunch of stuff. I can get this out real quick. Man, good stuff. Did not want to let go. Okay, so there's that. So this even says left and left. So everything on a car is if you're sitting, I was always told it's as if you're sitting in the driver's seat with your hands on the steering wheel. So driver's side is left, passenger side is right. So this says L, left. So, let's see. Careful not to rip these. And that plunger goes through here. Actually, it's got like a detent or a hole. There we go. Just gotta be a man. There's a spring. There it is. I already messed apart. Probably a bunch of stuff. There's an O-ring here. Does that O-ring go on this? There's no instructions. Almost would make sense going on this. So then it would seal every time it's shut. We are going to put it there and hope that it goes. I mean, it makes sense if it was there. But then when it shuts, it seals. And that one doesn't sound like it's metal. Oh, metal. Actually, yep, I can see it there. I just pushed it. I can see that's where it goes. Okay. So, O-ring, that thing, spring. gasket. Fits on there snug. Button. Gasket. Wow, that one went on like smooth silk. Okay. And a tiny screw. One screw holds this down. Loctite on that. Perfect. Okay, so oh, right, left. So right, left. We just assembled our brand new door handles. So there's an old one, and the other old one is actually still stuck on the driver's door. I wasn't able to get it off, but the old driver's door, it's junk. But we also have new door locks and ignition here. And like I said before, we still have to order the trunk, but I'm gonna take this out and we're gonna get the door handles and door locks wrapped up. The headliner adhesive that I ordered came with the cap, broke, so then the nozzle also broke. So can't get the headliner done. And guess what? You're not gonna believe this. I'm sitting here putting the insulation in the car, that butyl mat that I bought, and I'm sitting here doing the back where the mufflers are gonna go. So it's underneath the rear seats, and I'm just putting it there because there'll be some heat and road noise and everything like that with the wheels. And I realize I never welded on the seat, the rear seat restraints or brackets or whatever they're called. It's a little piece of metal with like a hook that the seat frame will go like this when you push it down. And you push it, and then clip, it hooks it, and it keeps your rear seat in place. Yeah, the car doesn't have those. So I have to grind away the paint and I can't find them. I don't know what they're actually called, so I'm gonna cut them out of my car, my Mustang. I'm gonna measure them and just cut them out from my Mustang and weld them in Karen's Mustang, and then paint them, and they will be hidden so you won't see the paint, obviously carpet and everything. But I just was like, wow. And it's kind of shocking, you know, when you build a car this in-depth, the small stuff that you forget. But, all right, we're gonna open these up. Brand new. It comes with gaskets, these little retention clips. So, nice. All new ignition keys, and we're doing like her original car had full pony interior. Man, see, they get this stuff so, like, this packaging is good, but there's times where it's so annoying. Yeah, I can't get it out. Get out of there. There's plastic still on this. But anyway, so her original car was a pony car, and to be honest, I don't know the full extent of what it was. I know there's a pony package interior, but I don't know too in-depth if it came with anything different. But these keys are for that, so they have horses running on the keys, and that's super cool. And on the other side it says Ford Motor Company. So that is super cool in my opinion. So that is what we ordered. So this is the ignition lock cylinder, and then these are your door locks. So when you do it, it'll just pull it up down like that. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. I'm gonna hang this up in my lock box with the ignition cylinder in it. Yeah. Sweet. Messed with this for almost an hour, and that little pin right there, you have to turn this key and it pushes the pin out, and I had installed this in the car and I could not figure it out, and luckily I had another one of these, so I took this cylinder out and I found that this pin was coming in contact with the other one, so I just had to elongate this hole for the cylinder to clear in it to push up. And you can see I tried to bevel an edge to try to roll it in, like kind of a ramp, so it would go in at an angle, and had to take the whole thing apart and modify this, drill it out. But yep, I've been at this for like over an hour. So now to reinstall it all. So these are the brackets I was talking about. These hold the rear seat, so when I'm trying to lean over a roll bar right now. So the seat has a metal bar that hits this, and you have to push it, and it goes back, and then clips underneath there. And that's a hook, so it won't just let the seat pop up, so you have to push the seat bottom in, and then it can come out and you can remove the seat. Well, I forgot to order these, and I actually cannot find them for sale, so I'm just gonna take them out of this car. You can see this car, this is the sausage pony here. It is never going to have a rear seat, so we're just gonna take these out. Looks like there's just a weld here and then one up here on the other side, and the other one's over there. So I'll show you the car just so you guys will see, and you'll realize that this isn't a car that's nice. And this is just my beater Mustang. It's gonna stay like this and just be beat on. I'm gonna build it a little bit, kind of use it, just have fun. And it's got snow tires on it now. I do donuts here in the backyard with it. Took forever. My grass finally now came back, but yeah, this thing will never have a rear seat in it. See the cage, and I'm never gonna put rear seats in this. It's got subframe connectors welded in, built into the floor. So, all right, well, I'm gonna cut these out right about now. I got them out. Here they are. I ended up using a hammer and a screwdriver to pry underneath them to hit it under, and then kind of just wiggle them the rest of the way, because where they were at, I couldn't use the cutoff wheel, so I had to use the grinder because the disc is at a different angle than the machine or whatever, so I could get in there better. But it's so big and bulky, it was also difficult. So I ground as much as I could and then pried these up. And I gotta go out there every couple minutes and check that the car's not on fire because it was throwing sparks at the back of the Lincoln seat that's on it, which the seat is mostly leather, but where it was hitting, it was like carpet material. So I gotta go out there and check and make sure that the car's not gonna burn down. But I gotta flatten this out. You can see I kind of bent it up there. But before I do that, we're gonna grind the metal off and then wire wheel these babies. And we're just gonna paint these black. And I gotta grind the car's floor. It's painted body color, but like I said, you'll never see these. They'll actually be under the seat. So them being painted slightly different won't matter too much, but we just gotta get these in. We still don't have seats, but I can't put the carpet in until these are done because I don't want to weld or grind, light the carpet on fire and burn this car down in the shop. So enough talking, let's get these cleaned up, painted, and then installed in the car, and then interior, and I'll probably do some switches and some wiring today. We are about to install this butyl mat. I got this from Summit Racing. I use this on pretty much every car I build. I did it on the F100. We did it on the ceiling, the firewall, and the floor of this truck. And I did it on the ceiling and floor and firewall of the Fairlane as well. And it makes a complete difference. If you've ever driven an old muscle car and you're just sitting in the rain, even if you're not driving, it sounds like you're in a tin can. You hear every drop hit the roof and the floors, you hear a lot of road noise, and every time I install this, it deadens that. Well, that's what it's made for, but severely. And then on the firewall too, and especially wherever the mufflers are. And I try to do the transmission tunnel and everything like that. Usually the Fairlane has it on the entire tunnel, firewall, and I think I did just everything on this truck because it's so much smaller. But we're gonna do the key spots on her car, try to keep some heat out and sound. So we got a whole pile. I forget how many I ordered. Just they have a kits, like just you can order different packages with different amounts. So all right, let's install these. The wiring harness in the car was completely trashed. It was all obviously old and brittle, but it also had multiple repairs done to it and other stuff cut. It just wasn't worth our time to keep having to trace it and do everything like that. So we bought this. This is a wiring kit for a 64 to 66 Mustang. So let's see. I haven't even opened it yet, so this is the first time I'm opening it. Man, there's so much stuff everywhere. Wow, that's heavy. Sweet. they have all these instructions for it, which I suppose I should, wow, that's nice. Check that out. Another thing why I wanted this is not only is it new and just improved better than that stuff, it's just modern fuses too, instead of that old ball fuse, or I don't know, not ball, it's like a round tube. It's like a tube. This is, I think these are called blade fuses. Yeah, here's, looks like the main, you can see there. There's a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna read these instructions, and then you guys are gonna see me put it in like seconds. All right, so I just test fit the seal, the gasket or whatever, on the glass before I put any of that glue in the, like the jam or anything. I'm gonna do both sides just so it seals. But I realized, let's see if I can, it'll show up. Where is it even? It's got this scratch right here, and it goes all the way up to about right there. And if you look, it's got small pieces missing out of it. So, yeah, it's hard to catch it. But, so I'd rather not put this one in so that doesn't become a problem. But I should have another rear window from a donor car. So I'm gonna go look for it and hope it's better. I think we're gonna install the master cylinder and booster and then the driver's brake. I think we might be able to get the other side done where it's at. So we ordered this kit. I think we got most of everything from CJ, Pony Parts, Summit Racing. Oh, look at that. I got the right box. Oh, wow. Very nice. There's that, look at that. That's shiny. These ones I opened, but I didn't unbox. Build assemble instructions or something, I don't know. Now we got these brackets. This says left, so left should be driver's side. Hardware, bearings, bolts. Oh man, sore. Oh wow, it's got brake pads already loaded in it. There you go. So these are 4-piston brake calipers. So the front will have 4 pistons per side. So this is definitely going to stop this car. So that's pretty sweet. I don't know if you can see over there. I don't even know if you can see. Alright, let's get this in the air and take this tire off. Yeah, I gotta finish the steering. The car, the I don't know, is it called a trailing arm? I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it's called. The rod though that goes to this lower control arm and then goes to this box up here, the one it had on it was bent. And I wasn't able to get the other ones off the other car because they were too badly rusted. So I still have to order those. But I put all new upper lower control arms. I've got a different anti-sway bar, bigger one, and has all new steering components. It's a manual steering car, so less stuff for me to work on, no power steering leaks. Thank God. But, you know, you hear the term manual steering, you think, oh, that's heavy, that's super hard. But no, the factory manual steering, it's geared so high, like so that you have to do multiple turns, way more than a power steering car. That's why when you lose power steering in your power steering car, it's hard because the ratio is so different. We're gonna tap this. We're about to beat this plate. Oh. I almost lost my nuts. There's like a Decepticon out there or something I can hear. Hear that noise? Hey, go. Go do some dog stuff. Yes. I don't have a wire wheel with me either, and I'm not getting up again. What the hell? I hope these are the instructions. Stickers. I hope they just have pictures so I don't have to read. That'd be great. You just look at a picture, left, right. Oh God. It's all words. Brake kit installation. Front of car. So the caliper faces the front. There we go. So it goes the caliper bracket, then the shield. Some of you guys are like, just read the instructions. Installation photos. Might as well be instructions. So this actually works on a 67 to 73 Mustang. Why are they not saying? This is a 65. 67 to 63 Mustang. 67 to 69 Falcon. 67 to 69 Fairlane. Isn't a 66 and 67 Fairlane identical? And then they changed in 68. A Ranchero, a Comet, Cyclone. 67 to 93 Cougar. 68 to 71 Torino, Montego. So this actually does not say it fits this car. We're gonna test that. So I installed this disc brake conversion kit, and it has 4-piston brake calipers. Well, I installed this, and like 2 minutes in, my phone died, and I didn't know it. So all that footage was lost. So I'm just gonna have to record the other side. Well, we're installing this shock Now on this one, well, maybe I did this wrong. I don't know. These rubbers are supposed to go on the top or the bottom. Great. We got the spring back in. I got a new tool here. It's this coil spring compressor. I got it off Amazon, and it was still a challenge with it, but we got it in, and all new isolators, and I mean the whole car is new. Every bit of rubber on the front and everything like that. So now we're gonna install this Excel shock, or KYB Excel G. So I forget everything about them. I think they're just factory replacements. But we're gonna drop this down through the top and right in the middle of the spring, and then bolt it to the spring perch that is on the control arm. So, all right, let's install this. My wife's mom is coming down in 2 weeks to vacation down here with us, and I want to have this car to the point where the engine can start and idle. So the car doesn't need to move or anything, but I just want it to sit there and idle so, you know, they can see the progress. So we ordered, okay, so first I gotta backtrack a little bit. I decided with this build that I'm just gonna run a Holley Sniper EFI. I'm kind of done with carburetors. I know a lot of you guys probably swear by them, but everything I've built that's carbureted, I don't want to continue to mess with it constantly. And everything I put a Holley Sniper EFI on, I literally bolt it on and it just runs perfect with minimal work, and it's the best thing I've ever bought. But we're out of budget for this car, so I have to take my own personal Sniper EFI off. I took it off the truck and I'm putting on this car. So to do it though, we ordered this fuel tank, which has a built-in in-tank pump with baffles and everything like that. So we also ordered all new stuff here, like a filler neck and whatnot. Well, I think this might be a rubber tube it comes with, if I can open it. Man. So it comes with the rubber filler neck tube. I think that's what this is. Yeah, there's the piece of rubber. Oh man. Okay, so this is full of all kinds of stuff. Gaskets, bolts. There's a tube and then like a tubing adapter or something down there. So that's important. Here's a box here. And I'm excited once I get this EFI on it, because you know my Fairlane here, I had an engine in it, 306, and brought it down to Florida and it just didn't work right because the carburetor needed. Okay, so this is a fuel pump. Okay, so a fuel pump here. We'll put it all in this other box. So this is the fuel sending unit. So comes with all that stuff, packed really well. Yeah, this was pretty expensive. We paid like, I think my wife bought it for like 500 and something bucks. But it is nice. One thing I love about it too is there's nothing on the bottom. So this is where the original one goes. And the one in the Sausage Pony, it's a brand new tank, brand new sending unit, everything, and it just leaks. Like it just leaks. So I'll show you the top here. So this is your filler here where the gas goes in. There's a bracket that comes off of it, obviously. And I believe this is your sender, and then the middle one is the pump. So there's that. And if you don't know about Mustangs, the fuel tank is the actual trunk floor. So when you open up the trunk here, the center floor of your trunk is the top of the fuel tank. Yeah, modern day, it's pretty crazy. But back then, that was just how it was. So okay, let's install this real quick. Okay, so the pump, the unit here, it has a S, so I'm guessing that stands for send, and then return. So the tubes are full length, so if you just try to put it in, it bottoms out. So you have to check the depth and everything yourself, and then cut it. So be careful, because you don't want it too low where it crushes this and your pump just gets messed up. But you don't want it too high where you're driving around and you got 4 or 5 gallons on the bottom of your tank that you can't touch. So you just want to check that depth. But this is super nice. I can have Lauren put the link down below in the description in case you guys want a tank. Because with my Fairlane here behind me, when I switched to EFI, I used the external pump. And it's so loud and it vibrates even with the rubber bushings. So I modified my own tank to a very similar design, and I built my own unit and everything out of it. It was kind of cool, but this is way better. Like, knowing this exists, I might see if I can order just this unit and then potentially 20 years down the road, 10 years, redo mine. But for going EFI, this is an amazing fuel tank. The fact that it exists and you can just drop it in and convert your car and have in-tank, because having your pump in the tank, it's quieter, and it actually uses the fuel to cool the pump. And I know every pump has fuel go through it, but the fuel being on the outside will help cool your pump and make it last a little longer. And it's quiet. Like I said, if you've ever had that external pump that's actually got pressure behind it, it is so loud and it ruins the drivability. So we're gonna switch back time lapse, install this pump, install the sending unit. We got the filler neck just stuck in here. It's not bolted down. I gotta find some small screws. But all right, let's finish it up. after I installed this fuel tank, I had realized, you know, I didn't put any type of gasket or RTV or silicone, nothing in between this tank and the metal, so any air from the outside could just come up through here and then it could go into the cab, and if you have an exhaust leak, that would be bad. So I had this left over. This is, I don't know if it says anywhere on it, but what this is windshield gasket for cars that don't have like a rubber gasket that it goes in, like my Fairlane. This is a very sticky, you can see, very sticky, like tar almost, and you'd put this down on the frame and then put your glass up against it and smush it. So what I'm gonna do is pull this tank back out and run this all down the perimeter here, and then put the tank back in and screw it, and that is going to form a really good seal. And you know, this thing will never, even with it screwed down, this will make sure, you know, there won't be any rattling or noise like that. And this tank is baffled too, so there'll be no slosh. It'll be a very nice and quiet system. So I'm gonna pull this tank and then put this down and then reinstall everything over again. Alright, so I'm gonna peel this. I just laid it down. Gonna peel this back. Just kind of see it all and make sure I put it on correctly, like so that the tank will. So worried. Okay, yeah. See, I was worried I wouldn't get this right, but I'm gonna overlap them slightly. And this one had stringy when I tried to pull it apart. So you can see actually how it's pretty good seal. I mean, look at how thick that is. And it's gonna smush all that. Here we got a little part. And I'm hoping it just fills in the holes. If not, a screw will just go through them all. There it is. Now to put that tank back in. Already, it's not even screwed down, but I just tried to shift it forward just a little bit, just so that the holes line up like perfect. And this stuff, I touched it, the tank to it, it's stuck. I can't get it to move unless I peel it up, but then I'm afraid it'll damage my locations. So I'm gonna say that it is solid. I mean, it's not going anywhere. Now I just need to put those screws back in it. And that is nice. I mean, I feel really confident about that. And one thing too is, I know in a couple videos you saw it, but I haven't, this whole car has been time-lapsed, and I'm just now starting to change my videos to more of me talking like this. This whole car was seam sealed. So what that is, it's like it's kind of like automotive caulk. Like you'd caulk like a bathtub or something. That's basically what it is. Every seam on this car, I put seam sealer on to seal it all, so that the cab, I mean, unless you crack a window or open a door, you should not have air coming into this cab. But I'm gonna put these screws back in. I guess I can put this thing on. Put this tube back on. Get in there. Get in there. I just want it as low as I can get it. That looks good. So now we just gotta put those screws back in. That noise you hear in the background, that cracking, popping, is my building flexing like a from the sun. Kind of like when you put a cookie tray in the oven and you hear it pop. That's what my roof is doing. So here's what I'm thinking. This is our fuel inlet, fuel outlet vent, sending unit here. I'm thinking of having the 6AN lines come in through here and just me drill a hole in the side of this. If not, we're gonna crawl underneath the car and see what we've got, what room, but I'm thinking of having them come in on the driver's side here. If I can't have them come in here, so 2 lines come in and secure to these, and then we'll have them turn here, plug into this. So we're gonna crawl underneath the car and see what area we have to work with and go from there. So this is the side here that I first wanted to go to, and that's not gonna work. Here's the old vent tube, but here you see the frame in here. That's just too sharp. Our tube will have to bend too much and it won't work properly. Yeah, I forgot to cut this piece off here. I suppose I could move this and cut that yet, but okay. I just have to paint this. So we're gonna come in through the back here, which I don't like because we're above, we'll be near the exhaust, and the other side's got the pipe too, exhaust pipe. So maybe we'll cover this fuel line here in it looks like aluminum foil, almost a silver heat shield. I think I've got some left over from a clutch cable. We'll slide over the fuel lines and stick them here. So yeah, you can see I never didn't do too much under here. That's all original. That's like the only original part of the car right there, going across. Here is our fuel sender. So this is going to the carb. We've got it capped back here so nothing climbs in it or anything like that, and it's just hanging. I ordered 1/2-inch hose clamps, which now that I got them, I realized that's too small, so I looked at what I had originally, and they're 5/8. So it'll be a metal clamp that wraps around this and then screws to this, and it has rubber, so no metal will touch this. It's all rubber, but the clamp is metal, so it won't deteriorate and break off like plastic. And the original clamp won't work because it's made for a smaller steel line, so it would just crush this, and then you'd not have fuel. So we're gonna run the return line with this line here, and I'll show you what I'll use to hook them together. This is what I'll use to secure them. This is what I was experimenting with my Fairlane once, trying to think if I could screw this through from the other side. But what I might do is actually drill that hole out and then use a long self-tapper like this from one side and secure that to the frame of the car. And then that'll hold them both not only together and secure, but then also to the car. I'm gonna feed this end of the line down next to the driver's side, like the frame rail, the rocker panel, and the other side we will hook up to the return side of the EFI hitch. Jeez. Get down there. This AN line that I'm doing, I had a lot of trouble with it. It didn't turn out aesthetically pleasing, but I just tested it and it's incredibly strong. Like, I could not pull it out, so that's a plus. All right, we're gonna leave that line not tightened all the way, and it's not exactly where we want it yet. We're gonna clean it up and cover it in a wrap so that no heat will bother it. I'm sweating all over the engine, just dripping sweat off my arms. There is the return side. We have a 45-degree angle coming off, and it's gonna go down behind the engine. And the intake side, the part that goes in, comes down here. We're gonna doll it up or whatever you want to call it, so it looks nicer, not just a tube laying there. And it goes through a grommet there and then runs along the side of the car back there. I'm gonna drill the openings for the fuel. So we're gonna have the sending, so the fuel that's going to the EFI going out here, and then the return over here, and that's how it is for the pump. The pump splits, so there's gonna be hoses running like that. I wanted to do them both on one side, which would be fine to come in. It would use a lot of extra hose, but then they'd still come here and then have to turn, one would have to turn abruptly. And I was just looking at it and I was like, on the EFI, the return is already on the passenger side, so just running 2 lines straight back and then into the tank, which will make it a little easier on me. So we're gonna use this step bit and drill the holes out to roughly, we're gonna start with 3/4 inch, and then we're gonna put rubber grommets in it just to protect the hose. All right, start with that one. Something like that. That was easy. Ruined it. Just kidding. We know that the this line here, the sender to the EFI, that line is too short, but that's okay because we actually want to run 2 pieces with a filter in between. Even though there's a filter in the tank at the pump, we want to run an inline fuel filter, which I already have. It's I think it's a Russell 6AN fuel filter. Well, I know it's a 6AN threads. It's like the, here, I got one here. If you don't know what AN is, I know I've talked about it before. It's this type of fitting. I use it on all of my vehicles. I'm switching to AN fittings for like almost everything. So it's the same fuel filter that I run on my Fairlane and anything that I run custom build. So we're gonna build a heat shield for it because the mounting location, it's real tight, so it is next to the muffler. So we're gonna build, I say next to, but it's several inches away. Still gonna build a heat shield just to keep the heat off the filter and also keep it kind of dry from whatnot. But now we gotta go find our rubber grommets. I've got somewhere in the shop. Get them here, locate them, because we're not going to put them in yet because our lines aren't done, and it'd make it super difficult putting them in now with that. So I guess we're just going to keep pressing. Yeah, look at that. Tell me if you know if that's deadly or not. But that's our return line up there. Yeah, look at these welds. I gotta get this thing higher up in the air and do some more work. It's on me! But, we got, sorry guys, it's really difficult to, oh, look at that, what the fudge. I gotta fix that. We got these though. They're, I'll pull them out of the package so I can show you them. I've been talking about them, but we're about to run this line up against here, keep it away from the exhaust and everything. Run it, it'll have to dip under this, sorry for that movement. It'll have to dip under here, which, I mean, I could drill straight through that, but anyway. We're gonna run it along this plate here. Yeah, see, there's a lot of work under the car that needs done like this. But then run it along this subframe connector and back up through there. And all the recording sticks are up there, so I'm just gonna put a couple of these in and then come back and show you what it looks like. Since I got that plate in there, I was drilling, it broke the first screw off, so I gotta drill a pilot hole and then maybe use a larger self-tapper. But we've got, but that, I got this set accordingly, so that'll be fixed, obviously. It comes up here, this one, they're not crazy tight, they're just sitting here so I can take it off in a bit. But it runs up here along the frame rail and up there and then into that hole. So now we're gonna go measure that and cut it on the inside. Comes in pretty good. I think I'm just gonna do a straight. I could do a 45 or a straight. I guess I'll see whatever I got two of right now. 2 45s or 2 straights. And by the way, this is a vent tube. And you can see that it actually made it really easy for me. That one says V. If you unscrew this, S, send, and that one has an R for return. So send, vent, return. And that's the, can't get that in. That's the fuel gauge, which is usually built into the fuel sender that's under the car. And the other 66 Mustang I've got leaks and everything's brand new. It's just crazy that they put all this stuff at the bottom of a tank. So a fuel tank with a massive hole in the bottom. I mean, that's just a recipe for leaking. So I'm very happy that this tank has it on top. I've found that the best way for cutting this for me is to use these side cutters like Klein's. There's probably way better ways, but that's just what I've found I like. So I'm actually going to cut this with slightly, a little extra maybe, just in case. So we'll cut it about right here. Alright, now, I've never tried to do this without a vise, so. Nice, I don't have any WD-40. I'm gonna go check real quick and see what I've got. Might just have to spit in it to lube it. We almost just did that and didn't put this grommet on. So I didn't have an actual grommet with a hole in it, but I had one that's a plug, and I just cut a hole in it. So I'm gonna pull this tube out and put this grommet in, and then put the tube back through. Okay, so this car from the junkyard, the way we got it from the previous owner, it had been fixed up. You guys have noticed, you know, from when we got the car, it was a manual swap, originally an automatic, a 351 Windsor, and a Ford 9-inch, and it had full interior swap from, I thought it was a Mach 1, but talking to the owner's daughter, it sounds like it was a Mercury Cougar, which would kind of explain a lot. So this rear end is a Ford 9-inch, and it's actually just a little bit too wide. So if you were to set the car down, you can see where on that the tire would just hit. And it's got like a spool or something in it. It's locked, like it's not, there's no give, like it's not a traction lock. So I think someone put a spool, and it's got 410s in it. So we spun one side while watching the yoke, and it's got either like a 410 or around that ratio. So we're actually pulling this rear end out because we're not going with a crazy build or nothing like that, and it just doesn't match the rest. We have a 302 from an Explorer, probably makes like 200 something horsepower, and a C4. So to leave this rear end, if you've ever had a spool or seen one with one, when you turn, it actually hops, the car does, and you can hear the tire, because there's no, one tire will never spin faster than the other to help you make turns and a nice enjoyable ride. So we had 2 8-inches. One of them we got from a parts car that we had, and it was locked up, so I took it to a friend to get it rebuilt just while I keep doing this, and he actually had one just ready to go, and he said $300 for it. So I was like, that's cheaper potentially than rebuilding it. So we bought his 8-inch, and we're just gonna swap that under here and just go with an 8-inch open rear end. It's probably got like 270 gears or something, but we're making a cruiser, not a dragster. So not everything is a crazy build to go fast. Sometimes you just build them to cruise and enjoy. But all right, let's pull this axle out and get that 8-inch in. Okay, so the phone completely crapped out and storage was full and I couldn't record. So boom, it happened. So there's the Ford 9-inch. That was out of a Mercury Cougar it has like 410 gears and a spool. And here is the Ford 8-inch that we swapped under it. So they look very similar, but you can tell the 9-inch is just a lot beefier. So this one has probably, I don't know for sure, but probably like 270 gears and an open differential, so one-wheel drive. We still got to do brakes and all that. But it's under here and it needs cleaned up, but I got to get it so I can get a drive shaft measured and keep progressing. So for now I'm going to put the wheels on it and jack it up to mimic the car sitting on its own weight. So instead of jack stands holding the weight of the car, I'll either put jack stands under the axle, so the axle and suspension, so that you can get a proper measurement from the face of this to the back face of the transmission where the seal is. So, oh, here comes the dog. She wants to help build it. So, yep. Kind of sucks. Boom, it just got swapped. And we still gotta replace these shackles. I couldn't find the new ones, the factory replacements I have, so I gotta find those yet. Alright guys, so I had to order new shackles. Let's see, I'll lift one up here. This is what it looks like for the leaf springs, and because I lost the other ones. But I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you the old shackles compared to the new ones. So here's the shackle that was on the car. This is called a lift shackle. It would push the distance. This is bolts to the chassis of the car, and then the part down here bolts to right here, the back of the leaf spring. So the further down this is from the car, it would push the wheels down, lifting the rear end. This car had big fat tires that stuck out. Sorry, it's hard to, that they actually stuck out like right there. So if you lowered the car, it would have been inside it. So here is an example. That's a factory shackle. That's where your leaf spring would be. And that is the setting that the car was on. You can see there's two other settings. It was right there in the middle. But we're just going with a factory setup here. So I decided not to record the whole process of just installing these. It's really boring. Let's see. They just slide through there, and I have very limited storage on the phone, but I will show you these two here. See the much larger one on the bottom? The kit we ordered has 9/16 bolts over 1/2 inch, so that'll be stronger bolt wise, but I mean, this plate's pretty thin. It's crazy. It comes down to your entire car like this has one bolt. Where is it? One bolt right there that goes to the top, and then your axle, they're actually not bolted in, they're just clamped like with this. Like you might say, oh, those look like bolts. No, it's a clamp. It just clamps it down tight. It's crazy that this is how stuff was. The car behind me was like that, and I switched it to a 4-link, so it's actually bolted in place, like it's not going anywhere. I feel like this stuff could, I mean, if stuff loosens, it's gone. But who knows? Well, I do know, it's sketchy. So there's the passenger side old Shackle. Look at that, it's tucked way up there. And the driver's side, I still gotta tighten them. I keep putting my fingers in the lens. But OEM modified. Oh my gosh, oh my word. Oh, what the garage dog. You a shop dog. I'm being licked to death. I'm being loud.